After a 1-6 start, there's no more pretending. No more waiting for something that never arrives. The Dolphins, a team that once flashed the promise of a storm, now look like they've lost the current. And everyone knows what happens when the current dies. Players start floating toward the trade block, and the rest are left wondering who's next. The edge rushers, the ones supposed to be the heartbeat of the defense, suddenly carry more weight than hope. Jaelan Phillips and Bradley Chubb, two names that used to sound like thunder. Now they're just reminders of what the defense could have been, what the front office thought it was building when everything still felt sharp and alive. Teams want them. Of course they do. Because desperation makes teams bold, and Miami is desperate. There's this strange tension in the air, not just around the locker room, but around the fans too. It's the kind of tension that doesn't fade after the final whistle. Phillips, the 2021 first-rounder, once looked like he was about to take over the league. But time can be cruel. Injuries steal momentum faster than any opponent can. 2 seasons taken from him, and yet here he is again, fighting against the weight of expectations. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 7 games. That's the surface, the easy version of the story. But look deeper. 22 pressures, an 18.2% win rate. Numbers that whisper something more than the box score. He's not gone. He's not finished. It's just that the spark hasn't ignited into fire yet. And that's the problem with Miami right now. Everything feels halfway lit. Every good thing stops right before it gets bright enough to believe in. Phillips has value, though. That's not in question. The kind of value that makes other teams circle like sharks, waiting for Greer to blink first. They see a player still rising, one who just needs a different system, a cleaner field, a new belief. But in Miami, it's complicated. It's always complicated. The cap space is already choking them, and the future isn't exactly friendly. Over the cap says the Dolphins are projected to be over the 2026 cap, with only 34 players locked in. That's a nightmare waiting to wake up. So what do? Trade Phillips now, while his numbers still whisper promise. Or hold him and hope the future somehow forgives the present. It's easy to talk about rebuilding, but no one really wants to admit when the rebuild begins. Especially not when the roster still carries names like Hill, Waddle, Tua, the names that once made it all feel possible. Then there's Chubb, the veteran, the fighter, the one who came in with a reputation and a price tag to match. 4 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. Solid, yes. Impressive, maybe not. But consistent, something this team can't claim much of right now. And yet, even with the numbers, there's that unease again. You look closer, and it's not all clean. 15 pressures, a 10.5% win rate. Not bad, but not enough to shake games, not enough to define them. Chubb's contract looms like a shadow. $39.5 million over 2026 and 2027. No guarantees. No forgiveness. Cap hits over $31 million. You can almost hear the front office sighing behind closed doors. If this season keeps sinking, what's the point of holding on to him? Every sack he gets now might be raising his trade value more than his long-term worth to the team. And that's the cruel truth. Sometimes a good player on a bad team is just a trade waiting to happen. The kind of move that feels inevitable once you stop lying to yourself. But there's hesitation, and that's what makes it all feel heavier. The idea that Greer and McDaniel might not even know how secure they are in their own seats. Fox Sports says both are likely safe, but likely doesn't sound like comfort. It sounds like the kind of word you use before the next loss makes it meaningless. Because safety in the NFL isn't about contracts, it's about timing. And right now, the timing feels bad for everyone in Miami. Maybe that's why the trade talks haven't turned into trades yet. Maybe there's a quiet fear that moving the big names would be admitting this season is already dead. But isn't it? A 1-6 record doesn't lie. It tells the truth no one wants to say out loud, that this team isn't close, not in the ways that matter. And yet, there's still that flicker, that piece of denial that keeps fans watching, waiting for a miracle that never comes. Because hope is the last thing to go, even when it makes no sense. Every Sunday still feels like a chance to rewrite everything, even though every Sunday keeps proving the same story. Miami starts fast, fades, and falls apart. It's not just numbers. It's rhythm. It's mood. Something about the team feels disconnected. The offense looks like it's chasing ghosts. The defense like it's trying to remember how to breathe. Phillips and Chubb, both powerful in flashes, can't change that alone. And deep down, maybe everyone knows that. The trade deadline isn't just about movement, it's about identity. Who are the Dolphins right now? A team pretending to compete, or one quietly preparing for the teardown they swore wouldn't happen? Every whisper about Phillips or Chubb being available feels like another crack in the illusion. And what happens to the locker room when that illusion breaks? When guys start realizing they might not be here next week? Players feel that. You can see it in the way the huddle hangs heavier, in the way mistakes start to multiply. Some fans still talk about keeping Phillips. They say he's too young, too talented to give up on. They're not wrong. But reality doesn't care about sentiment. Cap space doesn't either. And if another team offers a second-round pick, or maybe more, what do? Hold on to potential while the rest of the roster collapses around him? Or take the deal, accept the pain, and move forward? Chubb's case is colder. He's older, pricier, and less flexible. But that also makes him easier to move. Another team could convince itself that Chubb is the missing piece, that his leadership and power will unlock something in their defense. And Miami could convince itself that losing him now is addition by subtraction, freeing space, creating opportunity, resetting the clock. It all sounds clinical until you think about what it actually means. These are people. They've built something together, even if it's broken now. You can't just erase that. And yet, that's exactly what rebuilding demands, erasing the things that don't fit anymore, even when they once felt essential. Maybe the real question isn't who gets traded. Maybe it's what Miami wants to be after the dust settles. Because right now, it's not clear. McDaniel's offensive magic has turned static. The creativity looks forced, the timing off. Greer's roster construction feels top-heavy and fragile. You can almost feel the weight of years of near misses pressing down. Phillips deserves better. Chubb too. They both do. But this isn't a league built on fairness. It's built on moments. And Miami hasn't had enough of them lately. The fans see it. They feel it. They're tired of almost. Tired of flashes. Tired of excuses. The energy in Hard Rock Stadium still rises with every kickoff, but it fades quicker now, replaced by silence that feels like surrender. And maybe that's what hurts most, not the losing, but the emptiness after. Because for a while, it felt real. The speed, the swagger, the talk of championships. Now it feels like all of that was borrowed time. Still, the trade deadline hangs there, like a choice Miami doesn't want to make. Move Phillips and admit the rebuild? Keep him and risk wasting another prime year of Hill and Waddle? Let Chubb go and swallow the loss, or hold him and watch the cap implode later. None of it feels clean. None of it feels right. Somewhere in that building, Greer is probably staring at the numbers, McDaniel at the playbook, both wondering if the other still believes. Because belief is fragile. It doesn't survive 1 to 6 without scars. Maybe Phillips stays. Maybe Chubb goes. Maybe neither moves. But what changes then? The team still needs youth, draft picks, something to reset the foundation. Keeping both doesn't solve that. Trading one doesn't guarantee anything. It's just movement. And yet, sometimes movement is the only thing left. Because standing still has already proven where that leads. The Dolphins aren't doomed. Not yet. But they're close enough to feel the edge. And in moments like that, decisions become mirrors, showing you who you really are, not who you thought you were. So yes, teams are calling. The Eagles, maybe others. They want what Miami can't seem to use right now. And the question isn't whether they'll get it. It's whether the Dolphins have the courage to let go. Because keeping what's broken doesn't make it whole again. It just delays the moment you finally face the truth. And truth is all that's left right now in Miami. Heavy, raw, and waiting for someone to do something about it.